We've been outside, yes, in my romper. My lounger that I got from Timu. I look like a pink bunny. But I didn't go far down the street, just sort of right in this 2-house area. Ran the dogs a little bit. Visited with my neighbor's dog, Kaya, who I love very much. Kaya's the neighborhood movie star dog. She's just so beautiful. I put up a gate. It's a baby gate. It's wooden. So when it falls, it makes noise. I was coming through the door trying to put up the gate. It was loud when it fell. And Frankie thought I threw it at him, I guess. And he acted like he was scared of me for a while. So I had to help him shake it off. Went outside to play a little bit. And I fed him some pizza leftovers that we brought home for him. Yay! Poor baby. He's so sweet. I had adopted, I think I told you about it, I had adopted a border collie who was so much like this dog. Very sensitive. Very sensitive. His feelings could get hurt. And he would just get so quiet. Maybe get under the table. I mean, it was heartbreaking. I did. Every once in a while, I would, because of fleas, I didn't want to give him, you hear so much about flea medicine. They don't want you to have it on your hands, but they want your dog to swallow it. So I just couldn't figure out why some dogs lived longer and other dogs didn't. Now, this is not before the internet. So, I mean, there was internet then. It was right at that cross time. So I had done some exploring, and a lot of people said dogs didn't live as long. They think because they were taking that flea and tick medicine, oral, or even on their skin. They're like, you're putting poison, an insecticide that can kill bugs through your dog's skin for 30 days or more now. And you're supposed to wash your hands immediately. How is that not affecting your dog's organs? And so I would shave him down, shave his hair all the way down. And he looked like a greyhound. He was so cute. And I would do it myself. He was good. He was a good dog. Yes. But I would shave him down about look like this. Oh my God, it was so cute. So anyway, I was dating this guy he was a baseball player. And they do that smack talk. Back then they did a lot more smack talk. Now I don't know if they even do smack talk anymore because it's politically incorrect. You have to be allowed to be funny and that inappropriate for it to work. Just my opinion. And he came through the door and said, "Oh, Gordy got a haircut." And he was smack talking the dog. And he just shrank like a shrinking violet does, like on a cartoon. And backed up under the table and stayed there for 3 days. Because we got busy doing something else. I'm like, oh, poor baby. Did not expect that. But it took some bribing and some sweet talk. This one's not quite that sensitive. But he still looks like he's a little suspicious. Like, are you a little suspicious? Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. I think he's over it now. That's good. And what is this? This is the famous Miss Swiss hot cocoa. And some, is it Brock's candy cane? They were 50% off when I went to the Dollar General the other day to, what was I getting? I was getting something, baggies. And so I bought some for my hot cocoa. I like peppermint in my hot cocoa. Peppermint sticks. I'll save those little peppermint candies from restaurants when they throw them in a bag, like Olive Garden, Red Lobster, stuff like that. I don't know. I know Olive Garden does it. Okay, so I was out after I did my teeth and face. I went out to play with the dogs, and Kaya, my sweet neighbor's dog, licked on my face a lot. So I don't usually let dogs lick me that much, but you know, this is going to sound so terrible, but you know how you have your favorite child? She just has that personality. That dog just has this personality that when she licks on my face, it just feels so precious. Like it's valuable. Like when other dogs lick on your face, it doesn't feel valuable. They just lick because they want the salt off your face, or they're just licking because they can. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? When she gives me a lick, this little beautiful little feminine, sweet little girl, little Eskimo dog, I'll do a video sometime with her, or at least show you some pictures. But she's my favorite kisser. When he doesn't kiss very often. He's like Gordy. I was able to teach them not to kiss early on. Gordy used to love kissing my toes. Back when I used to do barefoot a lot. Oh, I'm going to do the reading. I think it's the 12th today. Pretty sure. I can't check now because this is the only communication I have with this phone. Unless I go to my office on the computer. You know what? Cheap hot cocoa. I know. It gets a bad rap. You should make it homemade. It's not that hard. Let me show you. No. I'm going to rip open a pre-measured package of delicious hot cocoa. I went through that phase. Okay, ready? January 12th. You want to lose weight and free the essential you that lives inside a prison of fat, but you're having trouble starting. Even a desperate desire to lose weight doesn't show you how to begin, does it? Start anyway, anywhere, and the pieces will fall into place. When you ask, how can I get the answer so that I can begin? The reply comes, begin so you can get the answer. Just as you are complete. You are capable of beginning just where you are. Today, see that just by starting, you are a step closer to achieving. The time and place to begin are right now and right here, and for all your worth. Today's action plan. I will believe that the time to start is now. I will begin from wherever I am to find my answer on the other side of action. It's pretty good. I can tell you this. Let me go back real quick. I had this thought when I said the word fat. People don't like hearing the word fat anymore. This book was written in 96. It was a big hit in the 90s. And I can tell you that I'm too hot. This is just too warm. I can't hardly breathe. So I'm sorry if the word fat offends anybody. Being overweight can be really complicated, or it can be really simple. If you're really healthy and you've tried several diets and you've actually been 100% with them, which is a biggie, because people say, oh, I tried that diet. Well, what did you try exactly? Because I'm going to go back to something that was a topic yesterday in my office, is that trying is not commitment to self-discipline. I know that because I tried quitting drinking for a long time. I tried not overeating for a long time. I tried not shopping for a long time. I tried not having additional relationships for a long time. At some point, I would lose my temper, and in my head, I would think to myself, and I didn't know it at the time because it wasn't up here. It was back here that said, if you had my life, you would fill in the blank too. There's mine. Can't see. I love that. So, let's just be real here. Trying is different than. I like to hear the effort that I put in was so overwhelming, I quit. That's honest. I put in so much effort in that half day or day and a half. And some people think if they cheat on their diet and nobody sees them, it's not cheating. That's not a lie. Alcoholics like me think if you slip a shot down to the other end of the bar and your crowd doesn't see you, it's not drinking. Well, the brain says, this is too hard in one way or another. And it quits. I just found a small portion of what I have left of this. It smells okay. And I don't hate it. I was just applying it and I thought I forgot to put on moisturizer. But it went on okay. I think this, there are a few, very few makeups. And these are them. If you get them in just the right color. If I were a man, these makeups, but you have to get them in the right color. You have to experiment, and sometimes you have to buy 2 colors and mix them. So, but it's worth it. If I were a man, I would buy these and use them because they work. They work nicely. I gotta put these over here because I need to finish these up before they go bad. That's just all there is to it. I keep saving them for good. But you know what that gets you? Nothing. get you stinky makeup because it grows old. Okay, so it's also easy for kids of trauma, adults that were kids of trauma, to trust the process. Now, excuse me, one of the things we've learned over time is that there are shortcuts to losing weight. There are some people who will take amphetamines and still not lose weight. Doctors were prescribing amphetamines for quite a while. I don't know if they still do, but now they're doing the Ozempic. Well, problem is that most people insist on using their insurance or a cheap fix. No offense to anybody. I don't blame you. But there are several reasons a physical body, not your brain, not your heart, you know what I mean? I'm not talking about you individually. I'm talking about the physiology of a human body. There's several reasons why a body will resist losing weight. And one is if you're eating sporadically or low nutrition foods where the body thinks, and this is something that's so amazing how the brain and body work together. Or sometimes, and I mean the back of the brain, not the front of the brain, because the front of the brain feels betrayed that you're not losing weight. But the back of the brain is saying, basically, it knows you're not eating healthy food. So there's a message that's being sent. Plus, the body has a knowing, hey, these aren't vitamins and nutrients. This is basically poison. So the body will hold on to every single little calorie it can, every little piece of fat it can, so that it can burn calories later if it needs to. So if you get crippled up, the body thinks, because if you break a leg and nobody's here to help you, the fat on your body will help keep you alive. You can go, overweight or a heavier person can survive quite a lot longer than a thin person out on a beach with no food, as long as you have water. An overweight person is going to last a lot longer. The other one's going to die from malnutrition, right? So junk food can keep you alive. It's just, it starts affecting how the body works, the organs, the kidneys, the livers, the heart. Anyway, I'm not a doctor, so don't sue me. Ask your doctor. But here, Miss Summers, what was her name? She just passed away not too long ago. She was on that show Three's Company. I know some of you are old enough to know who I'm talking about. Well, she came out with a book years ago that talked about, oops, oh, hey, I was looking for you. This is what I like to use on my spoolie. I saved the top of this was my favorite mascara for a while. Second to this, almost even up with this. The fake ones from Temu did not have the payout. I forgot what this was called, but I've had several of these in stock, so I'm not gonna stock up on a lot of makeup until I get done experimenting with the off-brand ones I got from Temu and finish this one off. The date came off. I think this was December. Okay, so anyway, back to me. Where was I? Something shiny was over there, so I got sidetracked. Sorry. So, Summers, what was her first name? Anyway, she was from Three's Company. Just Google Three's Company, and her real name, her last name was Summers, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, she was getting into doing some of her own marketing, and she was a pretty successful businesswoman in her own right, which I thought was great because back then, you know, it was really easy to get typecast as an actress. Even a writer. I had clients as authors that, well, a couple who had to use different names when they did different types of writing. And now it's all about marketing. You know, because the internet was so early then, people really weren't figuring out how to use the internet as a marketing tool as well as they do now. Excuse me. I really like this. It's about the closest color without turning orange I can get. So I'm happy with it. I am happy with it. I have decided that it's sad, but there are some lipsticks that I just... Nope, I changed my mind. I'm not going to make any declaration about lipsticks right now. It's so hard to throw them away when they feel good on your lips. You know what I mean? They just feel good. So why? I don't know. We'll just see what happens. Okay, so here's what I was going to tell you. She wrote a book. I'll get there eventually. Shoo. I don't like milk, and sometimes I cannot make myself drink it. I usually have soy or almond milk, or usually almond milk or oat milk. I haven't had that for a while, but usually almond milk. And I'll microwave it, and I'll add my Swiss Miss. I didn't have any available. I think I'd have to go out to the freezer out in the garage to get it, and I didn't want to go out there. Too much going on out there. Football, that too, as well. So I decided to just mix it with water, and it is really good. I mean, not water, coffee. I mixed it with coffee. It was hot, it was ready. I have an electric pot that I could put water in so I could have tea more readily and hot chocolate without mixing it with coffee. My spouse drinks coffee, so, and he doesn't drink the coffees I used to drink, which were not high end, but you know, I would get some beans and I would buy them from Ross's. Ross's always had some kind of Hawaiian coffee beans, Brazilian. They'd even have Starbucks sometimes. That Ethiopian blend. What was the other one I liked so much? Anyway, someone's coming. Be quiet. Shh. See what mood we're in today. I think we're in a halfway decent mood today. That's an Al-Anon thing. Y'all ever heard of Al-Anon? Al-Anon's pretty cool because they say, you know, you're an Al-Anon when you wake up in the morning and say, look over at your spouse or at your kid or whatever and say, what kind of day am I going to have today? Because your emotions just ride so high, are so invested in what that person's doing or saying or thinking or farting sideways. I don't mean to be mean, but I've been there. So I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying. It's funny because it's true. Okay. Back to the weight thing. I'm going to try to stay focused until I finish this story. So she wrote this book, and it talked about her journey through perimenopause. People didn't know what the hell perimenopause was for a long time. They didn't. They had no idea. So she had the money and resources, and she even wrote in the book, she understood not everybody did. I thought that, she won me over with that. I thought, that was really sweet. It's like, I know a lot of my clients are pretty wealthy, some uber wealthy, and some of my friends were very wealthy. And in my recovery, I had practiced, okay, I'm just going to finish that sentence. Not being jealous, being happy and blessed to be able to see people succeed and be happy. That fed my soul. And I was able to really tap into that. Very meaningful for my journey. But anyway, I just thought that was very humble of her. So she said, basically, long story short, what I got out of it was save up your money and get the real deal blood test. So the body holds on to weight sometimes, and sometimes it's not holding on to weight. It's not holding on to fat. It's not holding on to calories. That's not what's going on. That's why for a lot of people, diets don't work. So she and her doctors found out. I guess she was very helpful in this situation because she had money, and she was able to put it together in this book. I mean, it was groundbreaking. I wish more people would have read it. And I try to tell people, but you can tell an addict when I tell you exactly. If I tell you $1,200, and back then, the first time I took the blood test, it was $5,000. But what happens is they were checking her hormones for perimenopause, and certain things came up on the test that were like, not, oh, that's scary. It was, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Why is that interesting? This is about empty. I've only used it like 4 or 5 times, so I'll just finish this off because I don't like using something I can't trust. Oh, also, the reviews say this is excellent, but it doesn't last long. Okay, be quiet. Shh. Oh. Right in the eye. That's awesome. Okay, so Frankie! Frankie! Hi, baby. Hi. You been outside in the mud? Oh, man. It's been snowing here, and there's several inches on the ground. It was so beautiful. I had every intention of taking a video. We took the dogs out to the farm. I call it the farm, out to the property. And I was standing there thinking, and I didn't bring my phone. I want to take a video and share it with you. It was so cute. And Frankie just hops like a deer. Oh, and we saw a flock of deer. Okay, back to my story. I'm so sorry. Because you're not on the other side of the conversation. I can't hear your voice. That I get sidetracked. I'm sorry. See, if you were sitting here, there'd be more of a flow. Keep me on track. Send me a message. Say hi. So anyway, long story short, they found that there's a difference between, and before this, they didn't know. There's a difference between a food allergy and a food sensitivity. And if you go to your regular doctor, the blood test they give you for allergies is only designed for people with true allergies. That means if you have a sensitivity to food, it's not going to show up. So here's how stubborn people are. I'll tell them the same story. And they have money. They spend it on lots of things. But they want to save money, use their insurance. Yeah, this is dried up. What a shame. So it's like $8, $9 with tax, title, and license, $10 or $11, maybe $13 for these. And they last about 4 good times and 3 more half-assed times. Hi, Pup. Did you get it? Did you find it? Frankie. Oh, did you dust under the bed? I love you so much. Hi, baby. You want to come up? Come on. Jump. No, not on me. Not on me. On the bed. Come on. Jump. 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 Anyway. Oh, you couldn't see him. I'm sorry. So, that eyeliner's poor excuse for an eyeliner. And this is the pencil one. The top just, a big chunk of it just came off. Can I fill in the little gaps with this? Okay. Okay, I've got to stop there because I don't want it to, then I'll put some powder on it. Okay, so the problem with food sensitivities is you don't know you have them unless you really get to know your body well. So as I'm reading this book, some of the symptoms of food sensitivities started ringing bells for me. For instance, I would eat something and not feel nauseous, not feel any obvious signs. I could be watching TV after not eating for hours, or maybe even a day if I had been really busy because it wasn't that important to me. And all of a sudden, my hands would start itching, or my feet would start itching. Or I would get a welt across my butt, or my inner thigh. Or I would get little weird breakouts that weren't exactly pimples. I would get one or the other. Or, you know, a symptom so light that I didn't pay that much attention to it. Okay, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. There was no way to connect the symptom. Don't bark in my ear. I mean it. Okay, I see. Good boy. Might have been a bird. There's no leaves on the trees. So he's not growling at a leaf. He's probably growling at a bird. We had a neighbor that had a Christmas ornament dangling off of her front yard trees, and it just drove him nuts. Gosh. Go get it, Frankie. Go find. Okay. So, a combination of things were happening. I don't know how I got turned on to that book. But that's when I found out. I mean, there were very little books on perimenopause. Perimenopause, the word, was a brand new thing, as far as I knew. So, I got a hold of a friend of mine's doctor, because that's where he and his staff were going to get Botox, because of marketing. They didn't want to look old. Whether you want Botox or not, it can be very good for business. I did it for a while. I quit doing it when I realized a year ago, or through COVID. I went and got Botox one more time when COVID was over, and I thought, I don't need it for marketing anymore. I don't. I don't see cash clients anymore at all. I see all insurance, so I don't need to pay for marketing. Anyway, gosh, long story longer, please. So anyway, they will, when you get this test, and you can get it at a place, now they have blood places where you can get UAs for drugs and alcohol. You can get them to check health issues, cholesterol. You can get your blood counted there in different ways. I can't remember what all they have, but they also have for food sensitivities. The detail that goes in there is amazing. Now, I'll have clients insist that they're going to use their insurance, even though they have more than enough money. I don't know what that think is about. I don't get it. I'm a mathematical person in some ways. I'm very emotional and demonstrative, I know. But there are some things that are just math. They're just good math when it comes to common sense, which is farm thought, right? There's math when it comes to politics, when it comes to corporate reorganization, math that makes sense, short term and or long term. Sometimes you have to choose. But there's certain things that make sense. And if you don't go along that pattern, then that's where deception starts coming in. Greed. Manipulation and all the bad stuff. So I'm just saying, if you don't do the math and do the test that is designed for food sensitivities, and don't go into denial and think, well, this test should be good enough because my insurance pays for it. Okay, fine, do it your way. But you'll never know then if you have food sensitivities. How do I know? Because I've done it 2 different times where I've gone in and said I wanted to get a food sensitivity test. And they'll say, well, we don't have that exactly, but we do have an allergy test. We can do that. And each time, it doesn't even show that I'm allergic to cats. Well, I'm not allergic to cats. I have such a sensitivity that when I'm around cats, my nose just feels like I want to put bottle washers up them, just clean them out because they itch so bad, and my eyes won't quit watering. I thought I had allergies to weather or something. I don't have any allergies. An allergic reaction is much different than sensitivities. There are some people who are allergic to certain things. I'm not one of them. But whatever I have sensitivities to can make my life miserable. So, there's a place called The Lab, and it's in cities all over the United States. Your country may have one called something different. Now, The Lab has, I think, 4 different levels. One is for the obvious, most common things. And then there's one that tests you for all of the top 5, 10 food groups. I don't know. One is they're testing you for 100 things. One is they're testing you for 250 things. And one I don't know. It's more. Anyway, I get the most expensive one. That's all I know. And it tests for all the fruits, all the vegetables, all the meats, most all the spices, and some medications and vitamins and supplements. That's why it's so expensive. Turns out I was taking glucosamine all the time for my joints because my knees would hurt so bad. I was eating pop-up waffles with peanut butter and honey like a sandwich almost every night when I got home from work. It's like peanut butter and sandwich, but the bread's nice and warm and sweet. Okay, be quiet. And I ate kale salads with walnuts or almonds or something, and cheese and avocado. I was always eating those. So, what else? Certain things that I was eating, but I was only eating those things. Those came highest on my list of things that I was sensitive to. Turns out I have a body type that if I eat something so many times, my body doesn't like it when I do that. Why that happens, I don't know. But I believe she explained it in her book. All I know is this test sent such information that they even will tell you, it even tells you which foods you're sensitive to, but what foods also fall in that same food group. Like I was trying so hard to lose weight. I wasn't one of those people who, well, all I eat is salad, but then put all that salad dressing and raisins and no, I used vinegar and oil or just pickle juice. Turns out I had to stay away from vinegar. Anyways, they'll tell you how long you have to stay away from those foods to cut back on the reaction. Or to stop the reaction. I got a little delivery. Who's this from? Well, I can't, oh, it's Timu. Okay. Where's my glasses? So, it gives you a list of all the things they test you on, and then it marks the ones that you showed some sensitivity to. And then it also marks the intensity. So there's, the first level is if you stay away from this food for 4 weeks, your body will reduce its sensitivity to it. There's one for, and then there's another color for Another intensity. Anyway, with all this information, it can also tell you if you need to be on a 4-day diet, meaning you can eat something all day long, as long as you don't gorge on it all day long. What is, oh, I got a couple free items from the Circle, which I decided not to re-up, because I'm cutting back on shopping. It's just not fun anymore. I get disappointed too often, and I order the wrong sizes and stuff. This is a 5-pack of eyeliner. Stereoscopic is what it's called. It must be a dupe for something. You know, Temu does pretty good at that. Anyway, here's the punchline. I didn't just try. I committed to having the self-discipline, and it wasn't always easy, especially at first. But I kept experimenting with different ways to make it work. Because when I found out that I had these weird food sensitivities, I was really going through it in my head because I had worked so long and hard. So long and hard to... This is how I get those tight plastics off. I just figure if it's that tough to get plastic off, I don't mind if I destroy the body. I don't want to, but I don't mind. So I will tell you that I tried over and over and over again to lose weight. And I did work at it. I really did. Worked at it. I didn't just try. I worked at it. I mean, I didn't eat salad dressing for years. And I didn't sit around eating candy. I rarely had sweets. I did not drink soda pop. Oh, could this be the eyeliner I've been dreaming of? Oh, and it's brown. Look how good that went on. It just felt wet. Oh my gosh. This would be so great if I finally had a liquid marker. Look how fast it dried. And it's satin finish. Well, I put it here because I like to put it somewhere where I can stretch my hand. And we'll see just how well it lasts. I'm not going to return this because even if each one lasts, what, 10 times, 5 times, it's as good as a $10 one. And I know I got these for free, and so that just means you could probably buy them for $1 a piece. And I'm into $1 a piece. Anyway, I'm going to tell you what happened. This is going to get returned. Because it's that orange perfume. Oh, so from that Temu haul I did the other day, I'm returning almost everything for one reason or another. None of that fragrance lasts. I might like it for the initial squirt, and then it's gone. It's not worth poo spray because I have plenty of perfume I haven't returned in the past. And some of that perfume I bought was more expensive than the really cheap stuff that I've purchased or the deals that I've gotten. So I'm going to return all that stuff. Matter of fact, that's what I'm going to dedicate today to, is that and chipping away at my taxes. I'm not as organized of a person, as evidenced by how I talk when I'm on here with no one to with that feedback. Oh my God, I'm going to finish this damn story. Anyway, I lost, because I stayed away from all those foods, all those spices. I quit taking the glucosamine because it was also on the list. And I ended up losing 25 pounds within 4 months. And I wasn't starving myself. I was simply eating foods that were not on the list. Period. I quit eating corn and pepper, and because it gives you so many weeks to stay off of it, I don't know if you know this, but I ate out a lot. So corn is in almost everything. Some form of corn. Cornmeal, corn oil. They sweeten so many things with it. So that's when I realized I needed to be a little more careful with where I ate fast food, restaurant food. It was, I had to really, that was one of the challenges for me, is finding hidden stuff. So that was fun. That was fun. At the time it wasn't, but I'm looking back and thinking I could have handled it better, because I made kind of a big deal out of my food sensitivities for a while. I had friends who got sick of it. They were like, can we go to a restaurant without you going through your food sensitivity lecture? And I was like, oh, sorry. Oh, that. So I had to work on that. It was just such a big deal for me. Okay. So anyway, I lost all that weight and was not hungry. I had this other battle, like, what do I eat? And, the social interactions with my friends. I made a big deal out of it. There's a thought that if you don't make a big deal out of it, it's not like a secret. It's like, why talk about something that's just not that important? But I tend to do that because I'm figuring it out. And I think if I talk about it enough, it'll somehow, that's a very feminine behavior. Very feminine. Like, women like to talk. We all know that. Chitchat. But some women who are, we call it highly feminine, highly sensitive, if they have this thing that if they say it long enough or talk about it or say it in different ways, that then they'll be better understood, and they might find a different way to think about it so it's not quite so upsetting. They're looking for answers. So if you have someone in your life like that, that's what I do, is I'll talk about it because I'm looking for an answer or a different way to think about it. So anyway, got that figured out, that I can eat with grace. I don't have to be the center of attention. I don't have to bring up a topic that obviously there's no solution other than self-discipline. So I'm going to just tell you, if it's interesting that, and I'm so grateful to have that knowledge, because I have not had to battle weight since I quit drinking a lot of calories, and since I quit eating so many feelings. And I can use the same tools for food as for drinking most of the time, except for the part where I had food sensitivities. When I eat, I break out in welts or itching or inflammation. That word inflammation has gotten a lot of airtime, but people still aren't taking it seriously for weight loss. I can tell you, when I lost inflammation, the shape of my face, where you have fatty all in here, that changed. My everything slendered down. I used to think I just had weight here, but when my whole body slendered down, for the first time in my life, it took about 4 months to get there. I had a flat belly. I couldn't believe it. Because if you're not swollen, or, if you didn't just overeat, it digests within a few hours, and breaks down and passes, right? 24 hours at the most usually. But to wake up in the morning and have a flat belly is because there's not something stuck in your intestines. Think about the math. And because there's not inflammation that's swelling everything up. And if people say, I hold my weight in my fill in the blank. If you do this challenge, if you spend the money on the test, if there's nothing on the list that you're sensitive to, fine, don't do it. I had a lot on my list, and it was, the selection that they tested me for was a lot. But the things that most people don't test for, what else was on there? Acetaminophen. I take acetaminophen and glucosamine for my knees all the time. Well, when my inflammation went down, weirdly, I didn't have to take those supplements anymore. Isn't that crazy? I haven't had glucosamine in my house for years now, since then. I rarely take acetaminophen. I changed to aspirin. You can change to something that's formulated just different enough that it doesn't show up as that particular item, that particular chemical makeup. I think it was, how many doctors on those cheap tests test for vinegar? Well, pickles, jalapenos in the jar, because I would get fresh sometimes, and I'd also have jar jalapenos when I was feeling lazy. Well, the jar jalapeno, anything with that pickle juice, it's pickled. I was eating a lot of it. I was using pickle juice for salad dressing. I ate pickles in place of mayonnaise or mustard and ketchup. I didn't use condiments on my sandwiches. I used pickles. So my body was getting sick and tired of that acid, I guess, or whatever makes up vinegar. Anything that was on that list. So I don't want to beat a dead horse, but there are several reasons, but not hundreds of reasons. And that's one thing I had to wrap my mind around when I was heavy. I lost a lot of weight when I quit drinking Crown Royal and Domino's pizza every night, or amaretto with my salads that were, or lasagna or Mexican food every night. I lost fat because I wasn't introducing fat all the time. But then there was 25 pounds that I couldn't lose, and I didn't know why. I could not figure it out. And I was constantly fighting this belly, and I knew something was wrong. I knew something wasn't right. It was such a victory for me. I'm sharing this and making such a big deal out of it because when I have clients who over and over and over again, over all this time that I've been sharing this greatly kept secret, will say, well, I decided to take the test from my doctor so my insurance would pay for it. And I said, I already told you that test wouldn't do anything. Well, it showed I didn't have any issues. Okay, because of course it won't. But I'm not going to sit there and tell that client the same story over and over and over again. Why would, don't throw pearls before swine. that doesn't mean anybody's a pig, and it doesn't mean my words of wisdom and experience are pearls. I'm just saying that if you tell something to someone and you know the math makes sense, and if they went and spent the money on that real test, then, and nothing was on it, you could go, well, now you'll know for the rest of your life that there's 0 on there. That was worth the money to reduce your stress. Now you know that if something's really wrong with your thyroids, you need to find a specialist that can handle that. Or if you know in the back of your mind, you're eating things that human bodies don't process in a way that burns calories, or you're not burning any calories. I don't know. There's a lot of thought we can put into it, but there's only several things. You know, there is a rare disease, very rare, that, and I don't know anything about it. Supposedly, my 600-pound life, or I don't know, it's this sassy girl. I don't know if what her deal is, but she's had a show on TV for a while that's a reality show about her life. Supposedly, she has some kind of disease where you can't lose weight. I don't know. I only watched it once or twice because I like the idea of going out of my way to observe different behaviors in different settings. And reality shows sometimes is an interesting way to see that. Especially with people who have personality disorders or mild personality disorders where they like to be in the limelight. So to me, it's kind of interesting. But I could not watch that girl. Some personalities just don't mix. It was hard to watch. I guess if you start watching her from the beginning, you could be attached. But I couldn't. So anyway, all I gathered was, and this was a long time ago, is that she has a health issue where she can't lose weight. I just need you to know that is very, very, very rare. The idea that fat shaming is a thing is terrible. I don't like anyone being shamed for anything. I think it's too bad that people have a hard time with the word fat, because that's what the item is. Like, this is a pair of glasses that is fat. You can touch it and feel like it's fat. There's some of us that it's inflammation, and it's usually backed up by signs of little welts that show up for no reason at all. Some mystery itching, like it just feels like there's a bug or something. Or sometimes you eat something and within a half an hour, 45 minutes, sometimes right away, your eyes are just kind of barely fog. You'll think, what's wrong with my eyes? Your eyes kind of dry up, and so they get a little blurry, or they just get just the slightest bit like prescription change temporarily. The nose will itch, or sneezing. Like, I'll eat certain foods. When we go to Cece's Pizza, we like taking the mother-in-law there once a week. Just, we're taking our turns getting her out of the house and entertaining her one way or another. But we like to take her out once a week to Cece's because we can get in, get our food, sit down, visit a little bit, and get out. I like that once in a while. So it's about finish eating, wrap up our table, get out to the vehicle, and within 5 minutes I'm sneezing 8 or 9 times, and then I'm okay. So it's little things like that you don't always think is a sign of something. But It happens all the time. Almost every time I go there. So I know I'm eating something there that's on my list. It could be oil that's in the crust. It could be gluten, wheat, corn, barley, whatever they're making that dough out of in mass. This Miss Swiss will probably make me itch later. But I have a choice now because my weight's where it's at. My pain level is where it's at. I went to my doctor one time before we knew any of this blood test type stuff, telling him, whatever you do, whatever you have to do to get my hips to quit hurting and my knees, just do it. I was so frustrated and I had little tears coming out of my eyes. And he was one of those doctors that had traveled around the world to learn things. Magnificent. He had a reputation for being weird, and I thought his reputation was magnificent. And if I hadn't been so self-centered, I would have tried to get in his circle a little more than I was so that I could actually get to know him better. He had a reputation for learning different ways to do surgery in emergency situations, with very little supplies. So you can almost have a needle in any sewing kit or what have you. Well, he learned how to do stitches with the patient's hair. I mean, how cool is that? So anyway, I was complaining to him about how bad my hips and knees hurt. And he's the first person who told me I was overweight. Well, other than this bitch at a clothing store. It was a high-end clothing store, and we don't have sizes for girls your size. Like, I had no idea. And then when I went to him, it was it was re-traumatizing. And I went out in my car and just cried and cried and cried. Because all he said was, you need to lose some weight before I do anything for you. Crazy, right? Wow. Oh, absolutely crazy. So anyway, memories, huh? Dang. Remember rollerblading? That was one of the exercises that I did. I told a buddy of mine that I worked with. What was his name? Dang. Oh, I just loved him so much. Every woman, I think, needs a gay friend. Oh, I just loved him so much. You know how people change, though, over the years. Different drugs and alcohol, different relationships and traumas. It was hard when I saw him years later. But anyway, he used to be just like the best. And I needed to do something to get some exercise. And I hated exercising. I had tried Jane Fonda workout tapes, and that was fun, but I didn't like doing it by myself. It wasn't motivating enough to do it by myself forever. I did it for several months, and I was starting to feel better. And then what else did I try? Oh, I tried going to an aerobics class, a step aerobics class. Stepping was really popular back then, and I was asked to not come back because I was a liability. I was that clumsy, trying to step up, turn around, step up. And that was a beginner's class, I guess. It's like, this is hard. And she goes, it's because you're not coordinated. And I don't want to get a lawsuit, so I'm just going to say this probably isn't made for you. I was so sad. I was still working on my self-esteem back then. Can you imagine? Most people don't have to experience something like that. So anyway, when my friend suggested rollerblading, I only had to fall down a couple times to get knee pads, elbow pads, and gloves. And we went to town and built so when I fell, it wasn't that bad. I mean, I fell on my hips a couple times, but I had a chiropractor. I'd always gone to chiropractors. But God, that was so fun. We used to have so much fun. There's a place, it was called Research Hospital back in the day in Galesburg, Illinois. It was a community where they had the mentally ill, and they did research out there. Probably not for the best, but they also had for a long time, when that stopped happening, I think the Reagan administration stopped insane asylums and mental health research at that level. So a lot of places were just shut down, period. Moved everybody out, and that's where the homeless started going. That's where they're called homeless, but they don't fit into society norms, and they would have normally been in an asylum of some kind of housing for mentally challenged people. Anyway, that campus turned out to be several things. Different people would rent the buildings, but it was like small town, and the roads were kept up. The Humane Society was out there. Some recovery businesses were out there. Insurance doctor, maybe one or two doctors or lawyers were out there. They just kind of revamped some of the buildings. Anyway, we would rollerblade all through that little micro town. It was so fun. Oh. And in Galesburg, Illinois, that was such a blessing. The weather, there was pretty decent weather there. I mean, the winters were extreme, and sometimes the summers were extreme. Sometimes. Most time. But they really did have and extreme storms. But they really did have extremely beautiful weather when something extreme wasn't happening. All right, I'm finally talked out. I am going to make my next hot chocolate with water because I don't need any more caffeine. Look at Frankie. Hi, baby. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna post this, but please forgive me for rattling on. If you're even still here, know I'm thinking about you. I'd love to hear from you. Just say a hi, a thumbs up. Tell me how you're doing. Do you have any hang-ups? Do you have any topics? What topic would you like to hear about? Or I'm just going to keep yapping. That's what I do. Yapping jibber jabber. I had somebody say something about, it was so eloquently put that if I did several things and made a structured attempt at my videos, that I'd probably get more viewership. But I'm just telling you now. I waited till the end because maybe you lasted this long, but honey, I've said over and over again, that's not why I have this channel. I have this channel for my mental health, not anybody else's. If I get a chance to help somebody else through sharing my story or sharing my opinions or, just something to make you think, that's great. Otherwise, I'm here for people who just want to chit-chat, support each other, love each other a little bit, have a little community. That's the one thing that my soul craves. It's just community, which is a nice alternative to family if you don't have family. All right. Have a wonderful day. Know I'm thinking about you and I'm sending out prayers. Mwah. Bye for now.